Hi class, my name is Yazmin Loew, and today I will be presenting an article about psychedelic drug-induced hyperconnectivity in the brain and the ways this is beneficial to combating psychological disorders like depression and anxiety. So, to summarize this article, I'd first like to talk about what are psychedelic drugs. So, psychedelics are described as substances that can alter mood, perception, and a multitude of cognitive processes. The most commonly known psychedelics are psilocybin or magic mushrooms, DMT, and LSD. Psilocybin is actually a compound found in hundreds of different species of fungi, but it is known to treat psychological disorders like depression. So, in the article, it was one of the first brain imaging studies of psychedelics and the effects that has on the brain. And researchers found that hyperconnectivity throughout the entire brain was found whenever psilocybin was administered. They found this connection to also be dynamic, which means it was changing over time within the administration period. The lead researcher, Dr. Makers, found that psilocybin alters the brain in a way that makes the overall functioning more connected and more fluid. So participants that were given psilocybin reported higher levels of phenomenological changes when compared to placebo. So these phenomenological changes would be experiences that include but are not limited to a sense of unity, bliss, insightfulness, and euphoria. And the brain imaging also produced a pattern of region-to-region connectivity, meaning that there were different parts of the brain that were connecting and communicating more often than when psilocybin was not administered. So why did this interest me? Mushrooms have definitely been becoming a more relevant conversation in the last 10 years, but I feel like it's been increasingly in the last 5 years. More research has also been done on magic mushrooms and the effects they have on the human brain. So I feel like I see it more, and I'm a curious person, so I watch documentaries and I look for things that I can find knowledge and I'm able to learn something from. So that is definitely a topic I see a lot of. There has also been a lot more findings about the positive cognitive effects that are emerging within drug-assisted therapies that use psilocybin. I'm also in the process of becoming a therapist, so I think it's important I know about the different kinds of therapy. It may be something that comes up in my career, or somehow I have a way of networking resources for my patients that include like drug-assisted therapies. So I feel like it's definitely something I need to know about. And I also have my own struggles and experiences with anxiety and depression, so learning ways of combating these phenomenon are very intriguing to me, because someday in the future it could be a possible way for people in Ohio to find relief, because as of right now it is not legalized or decriminalized in Ohio. So my prior knowledge stems from the rabbit hole I went down a couple years ago about magic mushrooms. I watched Michael Pollan's How to Change Your Mind on Netflix, and it was because I wanted to learn more about the series. And I had little knowledge prior to seeing it, but it explores the history and uses of psychedelics and shows examples of people under the influence of the different psychedelics and how they affect them. There were also professional psychologists that assisted patients during their trip or administration period, and they were there to guide them, and I found that to be very interesting because I had never seen any of that before, so it opened up a new world of knowledge that I had no idea existed. And this is how I'm aware of like the different states that allow the therapy, because I wanted to know, other than Oregon, if there was any other US state where drug-assisted therapies are happening. And what do I want to learn more about? I would like to learn more about the administration process, because the article that I found did not really dive deep into that. I know there has to be regulations and stipulations to administer a substance like psilocybin in a research setting, but I'd like to know more about the therapeutic setting. And I wonder how this process begins and ends, who's involved in the process, if there's approval required, and what are the different stipulations regarding a person's eligibility. I'd also like to know more about the cons of using psychedelics in therapy. I always hear about these kinds of substances bringing on a bad trip or terrible experience when under the influence of them, and I'd like to know how that's being combated in a therapy setting and even a research setting, other than obviously using a smaller dosage of the substance. And that is my presentation. If you have questions or comments, leave them below. Thank you.